Hello, welcome everybody. It's Mr. Reality joined by psychic medium Liz Cross. How are you, Liz?
I am doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I've been using the AI to ask it questions about scalar and to really kind of do a comprehensive analysis of all of my scalar notes because I have hundreds of documents and multiple pages and many notes, and sometimes they get clouded. So I just posted some bullet points on my Ko-Fi about what scalar generators can do, what they can't do, and some of the limitations. Just fun. You can go check that out if you want. And if you like it, buy me a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I appreciate everyone else is out there that doing that. So thank you. Hey, that's probably the scalar police right now. All right, let's go over to talk about His Holiness, the Royal Pope, and wonder if we have you heard about the Pope, Liz?
Well, funnily enough, I have, but he hasn't been well.
He hasn't been well. I thought maybe we could bring him in and see how he's really truly feeling and what's real and what's not real in the news.
Yeah, really. What's real and what's not real in the news. And just to preface all the mind probes, if you're looking for confirmation bias, you may not find it in a mind probe. Okay, seriously. So yeah, I've got him here. You know, he's very unwell. Automatically, as I'm scanning his body, he's got liver issues, he's
Hmm.
got heart issues. Are you recovering from pneumonia? He is. Do you feel like you're going to make it? It's touch and go, is what he just said to me.
Well, we hope that he does make it. I know my prayers go out to the Pope as well. I wanted to ask him about, his life and times and really get to know more about him because we set this life plan in motion before we come down. So, did he set, I mean, what challenges did he put before himself to become Pope?
Hmm. What challenges did you put in before yourself to become? He has been the Pope before.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yes, he has.
That
He's
was one of
just
my
told me
questions.
that. Mm-hmm.
About
Mm-hmm.
how long back?
How far back? About 300 years. He was a pope 300 years ago. He loves being a pope. This is not his first time. This is about his third or fourth time being pope.
Third or fourth? You're kidding me. Wow.
No.
And so, how was this papal lineage or reign different than his previous reigns? Tell us about those other ones.
So, how is this reign different from your other reigns? Well, for that, I'm going to have to go into his soul. Okay. Now, not to upset the Catholic base here, but what the first thing I'm pulling in is that this reign is a lot more peaceful. Before he was in uh how far ago? There's one going back way back where they actually tortured people, okay? Who did not comply, who spoke out against the Catholic Church. They they would imprison them, they would beat them. This is very different today than it was back then. So I had to ask his soul for that information.
And so, what reign does he prefer? I mean, he's in his current one now. How do you get to come back as Pope? It seems like it's you can only do it once.
How do you get to come back as Pope? Um, he can come back as Pope as many times as he wants to. You know, in order to achieve this sort of status level, you have had to do a lot of work in your previous lifetimes. Now, he is a very old soul, especially in human terms. I mean, you're going way back to some of the first humans here on the earth plane. And he's worked very, very hard as a soul to get where he is. Are you on some of your last reincarnations now? I feel like he could be towards the end of his reincarnations, actually. He will keep coming back in. This is not his last one in this lifetime. Are you going to come back as a pope again? He hopes to. He really hopes to. Now, how do you think that the church has changed since you were pope the first time? It's changed a lot. Women's rights, uh, there have been a lot of changes. Women forbidden to work back then, women not really allowed to speak and worship. I feel was worship separate. I feel where he was at one time on the timeline as Pope, worship was almost separate. It's like males on one side, females on the other. And women were treated quite badly. And he likes this lifetime. I'm saying, how do you feel now about all the changes that have taken place? And he feels great. And why are you so devoted to the Catholic religion? Surely you can just come back in as maybe like, a chief rabbi, or maybe just another type of Christianity, or maybe Muslim. No, he always comes as Catholic.
But it seemed people have said that he's bringing in other religions into Catholicism and kind of maybe tearing it down. What does he say to that?
Ooh, people say that you're bringing other religions into Catholicism, and you're somewhat tearing it down. No, he's trying to make it open to all. The um, the attendance is diminishing, and he wants to make sure that the Catholic Church remains, Catholicism remains, but it doesn't have the power that it once had, is what he's telling me. His personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions.
Tell us about early life in Argentina.
What was life like in Argentina? It was extremely strict, extremely religious. I feel that his family struggled, and he connected with the struggle very early on. He didn't want to see suffering. He didn't want to see struggle. He wanted to help people as much as possible. And he believed he was put on the earth plane to do that, even at such a very young age, 3 and 4 years of age.
Being a four-time pope, can you tell us what secrets lie underneath the Vatican's vaults?
Mm. What secrets lie underneath the Vatican's vaults? There's a lot of original scripts, texts, original writings are there. What else is there? Are there any, gold, jewels, money, things like that? I do feel that there's some money or gold or some very valuable things he's telling me. Lots of valuable things.
How about ancient Egyptian weapons?
What about ancient Egyptian weapons? There's a lot of Egyptian things there as well. I don't
Extraterrestrial?
understand. Sorry, can I ask a question? I'm so sorry. I don't understand
No,
why
yeah.
it's all top secret. Why is it all top secret? Because if they knew what was there, what is it like a risk of exposing the church in some sort of negative way? No, it's billions and billions of things of monetary value stored there. Everybody would want to get their hands on it. Historians would want to pick it apart. They're just not ready for anyone to touch it.
How about ET artifacts?
What about extraterrestrial artifacts? Not that he's aware of, no.
How do you respond to critics who say what you're doing is weakening people's Christianity?
Do you respond to critics who say what you're doing is weakening people, the Christianity of the people? Um, he just says go forth. I don't know what he means by that. What do you mean by go forth? They have to discover themselves, who they are and what they want. This is, what is so interesting? He's actually very spiritual, I would say almost more so than being Catholic. He wants people to discover who they are, their authentic selves, he's saying. It's up to them what they want to do. He's not really forceful about you must be Catholic and you must do this and you must do that. I don't feel that from him. It's more of a democracy, it's more of a choice.
Hmm.
And he would rather people came to Catholicism out of love, he says, than hate. Because it's when you're forced into something that you don't understand, you don't want to be there, but you are made to feel guilty. If you don't, then that causes all sorts of problems. And he doesn't want those kinds of people in the religion.
Did he have any input from Joseph Ratzinger, the former pope? Well, that pope was convalescing before he passed away.
Do you have any input from the former pope? Just other than carry on the tradition, each pope has their own style, right? His style is certainly different from the former pope's style. He's much more liberal than the former pope. I have to ask, so what do you think about in the past about all of the sexual abuse scandals? Like, what do you think about? He thinks it's diabolical. He says it was terrible. It's really terrible, and we have got to work hard to stamp this out. He knows that it still goes on, but they do not turn, according to him, his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, they will not turn a blind eye anymore and just, just ignore it. They definitely have a protocol to investigate and to stamp it out.
Does he feel people should get recompense if they were wronged by the church in some way?
Do you feel that people should get recompense? Yes.
What's that
And
form
I
look
feel
like?
that they have. I feel that they've paid out a lot of money over the years, but did it ever like hit the news? I mean, sometimes, but a lot of it was secret legal deals and things like that. They've had to pay people off hush money.
Can you talk about how he's kind of drifted into political matters in a way that other popes, well, recently I guess might not have, but where does he feel his head of state role is in politics?
What do you feel your head of state role is in politics? He really just sees himself as a figurehead. Do you get involved? He doesn't want to be involved in politics. That's not his style. He's not that interested. I feel like he has a lot of input around him, advisors and things like that, that advise him how to handle certain situations, definitely political. Um, but he's not that, his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, he's not that interested in it.
What's he most interested in as his current role then?
Hmm. What are you most interested in as your current role? It's about, I'm not Catholic, so I don't understand this, but it's about cleansing the body, preparing the soul for the afterlife.
And why hasn't he spoken more about that? And what things could he recommend people do for that?
Why haven't you spoken more about that? I don't feel he's allowed to, really. I mean,
He's the
I
Pope.
think that all of his writings, all of this stuff is very scripted. Do you write the scripts? I mean, he has some input, but no, not really. A lot of this is scripted. And what do you think people can do to make sure that they're cleansed and ready to enter the spirit world? It's like wash away your sins, ask for forgiveness, uh, repent. It really is about forgiveness for him. That's very, very big. And having people, he's saying to me, when they go to the, kingdom of heaven to meet Jesus, he wants that everybody who is a Catholic, right? And he just corrected me. He said, no, no, actually, Liz, everybody in general, if he can have some good karma points for the fact that he brought people into Catholicism. He made it look attractive on one level. He says, we cannot be rigid anymore. That's not how this system works. We will lose a lot of people if we stay rigid. We have got to be flexible and we've got to change with the times. And he wants that, some recognition somewhere in there in his soul for making sure people are clean and pure of sins when they get into the spirit world. And he likes to think that he's very responsible for that, or certainly the Catholic Church. He says he wants it to be a place of forgiveness.
Well, we could argue about that. I wanted to ask him more about the finances of the Vatican as well. What is something that he could tell us that might shock us in regards to the Vatican's wealth or their secret resources or
Mm. Does the Vatican have a lot? Oh, it's got loads of money. Do you have secret resources? No, I mean, they do have an accountants and things like that. They get a lot of donations, a lot, billions, in fact, billions and billions. And I'm saying, so how is that going to work if the population of people, Catholics, right, is diminishing? People are no longer seeing church or Christianity as something that they have to do. How does that fare for the finances of the future? He just said it's going to be very difficult because the majority of their money comes in from donations.
Mhm. And how much of that goes towards like humanitarian efforts and how much of it goes towards just let's put that in the vault?
How much of that do you put in the vault? About 10%. They put, there you go. 10% goes in the vault. Um, and they're worried. They're worried about how the Catholic Church is going to survive.
Of some of the hidden texts in the Vatican archives. Did you like to go and read them? And what were some of the things that you found out from them?
The hidden texts in the Vatican archive. Do you like to go and read them? He doesn't really. He doesn't feel that there's more to gain knowledge wise in those hidden texts. I mean, he's pretty much mulled over everything. Did you find out any hidden secrets in the text or anything like that? Hmm. He's getting tired now, actually. I know he's not well, but I can feel his energy just drain. I could see him like, I need to take a nap. So did you find anything of any use for the audience that was in the hidden text? I mean, it's about self-forgiveness as well. We are looking, he says, for forgiveness outside of ourselves. Forgiveness has to come from within.
From who?
From who? From the soul. Okay, I got a question. Do you see the soul and the subconscious and the conscious mind as separate entities? No, no, he does not. Okay, do you see, maybe entities wasn't the correct word there. Do you see the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the soul as operating on their own, not operating together? Now, yes, he says that. Okay. And when you say forgiveness has to come from the soul, is that forgiveness to the subconscious or is that forgiveness to the conscious mind? Both. Okay. But then the subconscious really just acts upon thoughts and feelings and past experiences. That's where all the emotions, or a lot of the emotions, are held. So, what is more important, the subconscious of self forgiveness from the soul into the subconscious, or the conscious mind? As long as the conscious mind displays being humble, doesn't have a large ego, he says, and it can offer forgiveness to itself, that should be satisfactory.
There's a Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope. Some people have speculated as to why the Vatican is funding a telescope. Can you shed any light on that?
Why are you developing or funding this Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope? They're kind of looking for alien invasion, actually.
Is that based on a prophecy or based on another biblical hidden text?
Is that based on a prophecy? No. Is it based upon a biblical? Yes, biblical hidden text. Yes, that it talks about. So, is there a hidden text that talks about ETs? Yes, several. And what does it say? They will come down to the earth and they will try to steal the souls of the people.
How?
How? He's showing me some sort of like energy technology that just comes in and they basically just laser it out, steal it.
And they think that's happening now or that will happen in the future? Do they have any time frame?
Do you think that's happening now? No. Do you think that'll happen in the future? About 200 years out.
Was there a prophet that said this would happen in one of the texts? And is this passed on from pope to pope to pope, or is this something each one has to find out? Is it like an ongoing, we got to take care of this, we got to take care of this when he comes in as pope?
Ooh, is this something that's passed on? It's common knowledge within the hierarchy that we have to be prepared if and when they really believe this event is going to happen, by the way. It's because it's not even if and when, it's when it happens. And they hope to have the people protected enough by God that their souls will not be able to be stolen.
Is this some technological shield that we can develop in order to prevent them from stealing our soul somehow?
Is there a technological shield? No, but the only way you can really avoid them is if you go take refuge in like a cave or sort of a system where this technology really isn't going to be able to operate. Now, that's what he says. If it's that advanced, though, which it will be and could be, because they are much more advanced than we are. Surely it could just even penetrate through walls. But I'm actually getting a no. It would have to have direct contact with a human.
There are some people that ask about the third secret of Fatima. And originally, people claimed that it was the shooting of Pope John Paul II. But I wanted to ask the current Pope if he can tell us about the third secret of Fatima, which was revealed to the children in 1917.
The third secret of Fatima. What does that mean? Um,
It was an
what
attack on the church, allegedly, that many church members were killed along with the Pope. And some people say that Pope John Paul II averted that.
did Pope John Paul avert that? I mean, it is of the belief that, yes, it is of the belief that it was averted, but I feel there was a couple of people involved in this. Very strange. I don't know why I'm getting like two boys. I don't know what that has to do with it. I don't know this history. I'm sorry. And it's better that I don't know it because it keeps the information pure. But there's something about two boys coming through. What can you tell me about the two boys? Now, they believe that these two boys, do you believe that there were Christ, a version of Christ himself? That they were angelic. These two boys were angelic. And they were part of this. Do you understand what he's talking about, Mr. Reality?
Uh, I thought there were two girls, the Francisco Jacinta and then Sister Lucia survived. So the three children, they talk about the vision of Mother Mary. Can you tell us what other things we need to know about the vision, the third secret of, well, the 1917 apparition that they saw?
Tell us about the apparition that they saw in 1917. He says it's widely known. Okay. They believe it was Mary herself.
Is there anything else written about this incident that hasn't been published?
Is there anything written, this incident that hasn't been published? No, no, it's very well documented.
How do they separate people that say they see visions of Mother Mary or Jesus from people that are, schizophrenic? How do they, is there a team that dissects all the things that people send to them?
Hmm. How do you deal with people that say they see visions of Mary or Jesus? They look into just about each and every claim. Okay. And do you get things sent to you all the time about these visions? Yes. What do you make of these statues that cry? He believes that's the work of God.
Has he ever personally spoken with Jesus and has he ever seen Jesus in the flesh?
Have you ever spoken with Jesus or personally seen Jesus in the flesh? Not in the flesh. No. Are you a medium? Hmm. Are you a bit of a medium? I feel like he could be. Okay. He's not a psychic, but it feels like he's a bit of a medium. And have you spoken with Jesus? I feel like he has on a mediumship level.
Does he have any choice in who plays the next Pope role?
Do you have any choice in who plays the next Pope role? I mean, he could make a recommendation, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will happen.
Or what was its original goal coming back for a Pope as the fourth time?
It's your original goal. He likes to, he likes change. He does. And he likes to come in and for his soul to experience the current changes in the church and to also be part of that change. Do you feel that you're getting better? I mean, he is feeling much better today. Did you? Oh, let's ask this question. Whilst you were extremely, extremely ill, did you have any visions or any visitations from any spirits? Several. Okay, several. So you had visitations from what Jesus himself, what he thought was Jesus. Did you have like any ghosts standing in your room? Several. He saw them. Do you believe you were on the brink of death? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, he says. He had spirits coming to his room, and what were they saying to you? It's not his time. He was wanting to go.
Hmm.
It's not his time yet. there's still a little bit more to do. I mean, he is nearing the end. And do you think that do you think you're going to make it out of the hospital? He hopes to. I do feel that he had an issue with his left lung as well. I know he had pneumonia, but I mean, he's in a bit of pain as well. Do you feel like all this time in a hospital bed has taken away your mobility? Oh, absolutely it has. So even if he does make it out, he's going to have to go through quite intensive rehabilitation.
What's the holiest relic that's hidden in the Vatican vaults?
What is the holiest relic that is hidden in the Vatican vaults? The oldest relic is something to do with like a stone made into the shape of some sort of implement. And this is going way, 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 way back, even before biblical times.
How about the
Um,
holiest?
the holiest. Hmm. What is the holiest thing? Um, he's showing me a visual. What is that? What is the holiest thing? I mean, he says really the Bible.
Is there another Bible that we don't know about?
Ooh, is there another Bible there's several. So, do you have like original Bibles with different scripts or different writings in them, texts that we don't know about? Yes. And so, who decided what stays in and what goes out? That was decided a long time ago.
A long time ago. So the Gospel of Thomas, Mary Magdalene, Judas, they were rejected from canon. Does he feel that there should be a re-auditing to determine maybe some of those shouldn't have been tossed out?
Would you determine a re-audit that maybe some of the texts that have been tossed out should not have been? He would love for all the information to be available to everyone. But unfortunately, the powers that be, which is not him,
Why ain't it him?
because it has to be a vote, and there's a lot of people around him that are stuck in their ways. I mean, he thinks the more information that is out there, the better. Um, but do you think that'll ever happen? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. It it may have to take a few more generations for a lot of these texts to be released.
Are there any earlier texts that talk about what Jesus did from 12 to 30 that are being deliberately hidden?
Are there any earlier texts that talk about what Jesus did from age 12 to 30 that are being hidden? No, that is a total mystery.
Was he around when Jesus was around?
Were you around in a past life when Jesus was around? No, he was around before Jesus, um, just right before. Were you Jewish then? I do feel he had a few Jewish lifetimes.
Hmm. What would the Pope like people to do today in order to help with their spiritual journey? Do you think the most important thing people are forgetting?
Hmm. What is the most important thing in their spiritual journey that you would like to help with? What do you think is the most important thing? He again, it's forgiveness. He's really into forgiveness. It's big time. So I have to ask this question. So do you believe that just because somebody asks for forgiveness and they forgive themselves, that all will be forgiven in the kingdom of heaven? No, he says we pray that it will be. So do you believe that they'll face judgment when they get, oh, absolutely. He believes that there is still a lot of judgment in the kingdom of heaven when somebody crosses over. And so, what do you hope to achieve? I mean, I know that you think forgiveness is the be all and end all, But I mean, do you think that there is a hell? Oh, yeah, he does believe in hell. He does.
Does
Do
he
you
think we're
think
in it?
do you think that do you think that we're in it now? No, no. No, this is nothing compared to hell, he says. And do you believe that people will go to hell? Oh, they do. They do. He's very firm about that. So I'm going to go into the soul here because I'm talking with his subconscious. I'm going to go into the soul and I'm going to say, now that you've had all these lifetimes, do you still believe in hell? No, there is no hell. There isn't.
Asking his soul what was his most enjoyable lifetime.
What was your most enjoyable lifetime? One is a female, and why? How long ago was this? This is going back a few thousand years. And why was the life of the female when you were female? Why was that so good? Because at that time, there wasn't a lot of pressure, he says. Women were, he had babies. I feel there wasn't a lot. There was only like one or two. I feel there some were stillbirth and there was problems. Um, but that's all you had to worry about was the care of your babies. Now, when I see this, this is going way back. This is almost like a very primitive, almost pre-tribal, right? This is going way back when all women had to do, not saying that it was easier then, but they had to hold their baby and love their baby and raise their baby, right? That was it. And he loved that. He loved the fact that he was a female and he was putting all of his energy and love. He said it was pure love. We don't know this love anymore because we have gone through these lifetimes and we have had this beaten out of us, traumatized out of us. But back then it was pure love, and we don't feel this love anymore. In fact, what he says, the more we go through the lifetimes, the more we are actually removed from this pure love. And that's what we're trying to recreate. We're trying to find this pure love again, but it was certainly there in these early human times.
Well, thank you very much, Pope Francis and Psychic Medium Liz Cross, everybody out there. We appreciate it. And we wish you well and hope that you continue to recover and get better.
Oh, yes. Do you think that you are feeling better today? He is feeling better, but this is going to be a slow recovery. It really is. He's being very well taken care of. The best of the best are seeing to him. And he is fed up with being in the hospital. And he does want to live. I mean, certainly as I tap in him to his consciousness, yes, he does want to live now that he's feeling slightly better. Things are looking up. But before, when he was so ill, he was on the brink of death. I'm telling you, I could feel that. And when he had all those spirits in his room and he was wanting to go, it was almost as if he was begging to leave, and they were the ones that were like, no, no, not yet. So, wow, that was a really good interview. So, thank you. And don't forget, Mr. Reality does have a tip jar listed in the comments.
So does Liz. Thanks, everybody.